Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another weekly edition of our pandemic survival group coaching session. We hope you all had a good week. We did. It was been a very interesting and eventful week. Lots of stuff happening here, especially on the aid front, and so we're looking forward to sharing all of that information with you guys. So looks like we've got a good group here today, and some more are coming on as we speak. So, all right, well, let's get started. For those of you that haven't joined us before for the group call, my name is Ed Earl. I run a construction project management company in San Diego as an owner's rep, and also have an MBA from Stanford, and a coach here with Residential Construction Services Group. Paul, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, my MED is from Cal Poly, which isn't as impressive as yours from Stanford, but what the heck, I had a good time. I was just going to Europe. So I've been doing this for 35 years. I guess it makes me an old guy. Worked with literally hundreds and hundreds of contractors between 2 million and 100 million. And I've learned from a lot of other people's mistakes. I must admit, having done this for 35 years, been through 5 recessions, this is the first time I've ever done a pandemic recession. So, hey, it's exciting. You know, what the hell? Something new and interesting.
Anything quite like this. So hence, we said, well, let's get together, share best practices, and see if we can answer questions and just give you anything to make this easier, some tools, some processes. That's why we're here. Go ahead.
All right. And you can tell from the color or amount of our hair that we're all pretty old guys, and between the three of us, we have 95 years of experience.
My 9-year-old son just told me to shave my head today. He said, "Dad, I'll make it look younger." And I went, "I don't think so."
That's good. Yeah, and grow a goatee. I like that.
The value of experience. Nothing takes the place of experience.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, as we kind of intimated here, you know, with the current situation, things are changing so quickly on a daily basis, definitely on a weekly basis. So we also offer a weekly webinar on Friday, which we'll tell you about at the end of this. But this group session is really more of a chance to provide individual one-on-one support and allow you to ask questions about your particular circumstances and situations. So we will leave some time for some questions and interaction at the end. So
yeah, I've already got a question that's come in, Ed. So let's circle back to that because yes, people are already posting some things.
Great. Okay. All right. So the first off is just to give you an update on where you can work and where you can't. This is the chart that we continue to monitor every day. You can see where it was 2 weeks ago on March 24th and where it is today. So we are now down to 7 states. That are only 7 states that are left that have no restrictions at all on construction or business. But you can see now that there are 5 red states. Those red states are areas where there is no construction allowed. David and I spoke with one of our clients in Washington on Monday, and they are completely shut down. So if you are in one of the neighboring states next to a red state, there's a good chance that you could be next. So let me tell you what happens here. First off, you're not going to get much warning. They don't want to give you a week or 2 warning because they know that then you'll try to get a whole flurry of construction activity. So you probably at most will have 1 or 2 days of warning. We also talked to a client of ours in Pennsylvania, Paul and I did last week, and the same thing. He was a week away from finishing the house and turning it over to his clients. So he basically pulled off all of his subs and crews, and for 2 days straight, they just worked to finish this house out and finished it out.
Another thing, 24/7.
Yeah. Another thing we heard in Washington is that, you know, obviously you can't leave a house if it's unprotected in the weather. So they will let you get to the point where you're basically weather tight, right? So if you're in framing, they will at least let you get to the point where, you know, you've got the roof on and you're wrapped and your windows are in and you're dried in. So they will let you get to that point. So if you are thinking that your state is going to shut down, focus on your interior work, knowing that if you have anything in the framing stages, you'll at least be able to continue that until you can dry in that project. So that's the recommended strategy on that. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the CARES Act. We talked about this last week, $2.1 trillion in aid. There's been a lot of confusion, a lot of instances of trying to apply for loans, including me and Paul as well. So this is just the overview, basically the same thing we talked about last week. So I'm not going to go over that in any more detail, but I am going to show you this. This just came out yesterday. So President Donald Trump has now removed the Inspector General who was overseeing the government's $2.3 trillion coronavirus response. And so now there's concerns in Congress about the oversight of the relief package and whether it's going to be administered correctly because Trump has now fired the Inspector General. So it was already a mess. The whole application process was just crazy, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But probably having our Inspector General get fired was not helpful. So the bottom line is, if you haven't yet applied, apply immediately because the money is going quickly. Now, the fastest and easiest thing that you can apply for is the COVID-19 Economic Injury Disaster Loan, all right? This is where you go, sba.gov, and you click where it says Learn More. It will take you through a short 5-step application. Once you click here under the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. So you click there, and then it takes you to this 5-page application. The key thing that you need to know is on this page here, you check the box that says you'd like to be considered for an advance of up to $10,000. You put in your bank name, your account number, your routing number, and you click OK. Now, myself and many of our clients have done this last week. No one has gotten any money yet.
If anybody who's listening to this webinar got any money, I'd love to know about it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Right. And also, no one's gotten an email confirmation. I got a lot of responses. Hey, I went through the steps. I never got an email confirmation. Did I do something wrong? No, you didn't. Again, the system is so overloaded. It's not working correctly. But if you haven't yet, go in. This will take you 10 minutes. Do it now because this money is going fast. All right, let's talk about the Paycheck Protection Program. This is a program that was supposed to come online on Friday. We talked about it last week on Wednesday. Thursday night, they changed the application from the one that I showed you on Wednesday. It's still in a source of chaos. Some of us, including myself, have been able to apply. Here's what we know today. Use a local bank if you can. All right. What we have found is that the big banks like Chase and Wells Fargo and B of A, pardon my French, but they suck. I'll tell you my experience. I applied with B of A on Friday. I found out there was a discrepancy between my EIN on the credit card that I used with B of A versus my payroll checks. So I couldn't apply. I scrambled. I'm in San Diego. I contacted someone I know who's the director of the Bank of Southern California. In 2 hours, he had my application done, which was amazing. It was 61 pages for the application. It was crazy, literally 28.4 megabytes worth of files that they requested. Yeah, and then Paul, you tell them your situation with Chase.
Well, I'm with a large bank, and so they sent me the application. It's Chase, JP Morgan. So they sent me the first application on Friday, or at least, and then I went to it and filled it out, and they said, now you're in line to actually get an application. So then yesterday I got the application that said apply. I went through the website, crashed twice. The 4th or 5th time I tried it, I could actually get through. I got through, I filled out the stuff, and I need all this paperwork. So I called my CPA and said, Priscilla, can you fill this out for me? And she goes, no, according to the CPA Association, we can't help you do this because we have to testify stuff we can't testify for, so I can help you. I said, well, what can you do for me? And she said, well, I can probably get the stuff you need. So she uploaded my tax returns, my payroll reports, my incorporation papers, everything she could think of that I would needed that she had, she uploaded to Dropbox. So I had all that in Dropbox. So now in the afternoon, I'm ready to apply. And I said, well, I can upload this stuff. So I went down and I got to the part that says upload your the income tax returns, upload your fast payroll. So I started uploading everything. I could only upload 5 megabytes, and everything was like, I don't know, 40 megabytes. So it all jammed. So I go, crap. So I then called my computer guy and said, can you condense these files because I can't upload them? So he took him an hour. He condensed all the files off Dropbox, uploaded them again to Dropbox. Then they were small enough and I could actually upload the files. So I uploaded all the files. Once I uploaded the files, I actually hit submit, and it said, you've officially applied with Chase. Congratulations. We'll let you know if we're going to fund it and put it in your business checking account. So it's my experience.
Jeez. Right. And then look at my note here on this slide. This came out on Saturday. On Friday, Bank of America alone reported on its first day they had 85,000 customers apply, and for $22.2 billion, but from one bank on one day. And the whole program is only $350 billion. So this money is running out this week. If you haven't yet gotten into your PPP, get it done. If you're struggling, I had another client just contact me this morning. He's with Wells Fargo. He tried on Friday, they were closed. Monday, they said nothing. Yesterday, he put his name on a list. This morning, he got an email that said, we're sorry, but Wells Fargo isn't taking any more applications. It's too late. So he's scrambling and going over to the Bank of Southern California this morning. But if you haven't yet done it, get it done because it's going fast.
Can I ask a quick question on this, Ed, just because we're here?
Yeah.
So a gentleman is asking, can they include 1099 trade contractor compensation in the PPP application?
I can answer that question. I had the same question. So I went to my CPA, wasn't too sure. So the person I trust most about this happens to be one of the top construction attorneys in San Francisco with one of the largest legal firms in San Francisco. His name's Dan McClendon. So I went to Dan and said, Dan, is this legal or not? Can you do 1099s? The answer is no. That's the short answer. And he pointed out why that wouldn't work. And what you have to do is all your 1099 people can apply on their own, but they are not eligible. They are not defined as wages, and you cannot do it.
Great.
And Ned is also pointing out that there is an Adobe file compress tool that you can use to compress your PDF files. So that's good as well. Now, when I submitted mine yesterday to my second application, it got rejected and kicked back to me. And I want to tell you why. The first was that my guy at the bank said, look, check more than one box under the purpose of the loan. I had only checked payroll, but he said, check leases and check utilities, check them all, because it actually puts you higher in the ranking if they see that you need the money for more than just payroll.
So now you tell me, I could have done that yesterday, Ed. Jeez, that's a lot.
And it'll be different by tomorrow, though, Paul. So let's just hang on.
True. Okay.
The other thing is that this, you can fill this application out online and then you sign the second page. Well, on the first page, you're checking all these boxes, but these two arrows down here, you actually need to initial those two in addition to checking the boxes. So I didn't notice that. So I had to print it out. They sent it to me. It was incorrect. I had to print it out, reinitial it, rescan it, send it back. So those are the couple of things when you're filling out your application to look for. Now, another question that we had as well is, will a contractor lose the loan forgiveness if they lay employees off now, but then hire them back after receiving the Paycheck Protection Program loan fund? The answer is no, you will not lose your loan forgiveness. This is actually the response from that same construction attorney that Paul mentioned earlier. So a PPP loan will be forgiven to the extent of the payroll paid to rehires or new hires. So if you're going to take a temporary, kind of put some people on furlough for a couple of weeks until you get this loan, you can go ahead and do that as long as you hire them back after you get that.
Right. And it's a good time to lay people off in the sense that they're going to get the other $600 a week on unemployment they would normally get.
Right. So this is another question of, how do we know for sure that this loan will be forgiven? This was actually taken from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. They put together a really good 4-page information packet. I found the best information is that. There's also a 31-page document from the U.S. Department of Treasury that goes through every part of this loan. So I have both of those. If you're interested, contact me afterwards or put your email in the questions, and I'd be happy to send you those information packets afterwards. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Paul, and this is our enlightening suggestion for the week, and Paul's going to talk to you about a great book.
Okay, this is an interesting story. I'm sitting here in my office, which has a library of all these self-help books. It's just, I must have hundreds and hundreds of self-help books that I've accumulated over the years. So my son, who's 9 years old, he went and arbitrarily pulled out this book. And the book is Who Moved My Cheese? See, I personally don't believe there's any accidents in the universe. So I went, okay, why did he pull out that book? Because I haven't read it in years. And I looked at it and went, oh my God, it's so appropriate for what we're doing now. It should be Who Moved My Cheese, i.e. the coronavirus, right? So moving along, you should read the book. You can read it in, whatever, 15 minutes, probably 30 minutes. It's a parable. So it's by Spencer Johnson. And here's some quotes from the book I think that are really relevant for contractors right now. What you are afraid of is never as bad as what you imagine. The fear you let build up in your mind is worse than the situation that actually exists. And we've seen that classically with statistics on the coronavirus thing. And we were supposed to have 250,000 people dead by now, and it's like 20. So the imagined is much worse, okay? Move on. The more important your cheese is to you, the more you want to hold on to it. And the book is about two mice, which is Sniff and Scurry, and two little humans, which are Him and Haw. And the short form of the book is the little mice don't care, they scurry around, but the cheese goes away. But Him and Haw, who are really attached to the cheese, like you might be attached to your current way you're doing business, if you're attached to it, it's hard to change. I mean, I had a client in the catering business, and he had to go from catering to home delivery like in a week. So we got to adapt. Okay. Next slide. You don't, let's see, if you don't change, you become extinct. Well, that's pretty obvious, right? Extinct for business means you cease to exist. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Think about that. I personally believe this is a great opportunity. And, maybe it's the Earth's, immune system kicking in or something. I don't know, but we have to deal with it, whatever it is. So take this on as you, don't be afraid of it, because it's an opportunity for a business. Next. Ed, you're next.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So November. Okay. So movement in the direction of helps you find the new cheese. So this webinar, we didn't ever do webinars like this until 3 weeks ago. And now we've got, whatever it is, we've got 20 people here, and we're going to have 250 people show up on Friday. So, find the new cheese. Go look for new ways of marketing. It's all there. Next.
Can I add one thing to that, Paul?
Go ahead.
It's easy to kind of be paralyzed in all this. And when I read that last, what you just said, it's like there's energy and momentum in movement. So get moving, start opening the doors, see what else is possible. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Movement in the new direction helps you find new cheese. So just like this webinar we're doing today, there's things you can do that can move things upward. And we've talked to several of our clients that are doing better at marketing than they're doing before, and they're actually getting some more leads than they were getting before, even in this pandemic. Old beliefs do not lead to the new cheese. So what that means is you may have had a way you've used in marketing, like you just depended on things happening the way they were, you depended on, referrals, or you depended on the phone ringing when the phone stopped ringing. Well, what are you going to do about it? So, you've got to shift your beliefs. It's critical in this moment. And one person said that, normally a recession takes 4, 5, 6 months to take hold, maybe around for a couple of years. Well, we got this one in 3 weeks. It's the instant recession. Never happened quite this fast, right? So the cheese got taken away in a week as opposed to taken away in several months. So I can't read this. What do you do when we did that for me? Let's see. I'm having hard.
When you see that you can find and enjoy new cheese, you change course.
Absolutely. So again, this webinar is an example. I'm having fun with these webinars. How about you, Dave? It's fun?
Yeah.
You're enjoying them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a blast. And we didn't do these before. So I'm going to have, since this is so small on my screen, I'm going to have Ed go over these with you.
All right. So this is basically at the end of the book. By the way, this book, you can literally read what in like 20, 30 minutes. I mean, it's a very
And you
short.
can download a PDF, right? Just Google who moved my cheese, and I read it in 20 minutes on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just, like big print. It's like one page with that and one page with that. So this is the handwriting on the wall. This is the summary. Number 1, change happens. They will always keep moving the cheese. 2, anticipate change. Get ready for the cheese to move. 3, monitor change. Smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old and it's time to change. 4, adapt to change quickly. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you can enjoy new cheese. Number 5, change. Move with the cheese. Number 6, enjoy change. Savor the adventure and the taste of new cheese. And lastly, be ready to quickly change again and again, because they'll always be moving the cheese.
Right. And one of the things I've noticed out of our 50 clients, you guys can comment on this, but they feel like a sportscast. You're going, even there's 3 people. There's 3 things that happen, or that I've seen happen to our clients. One is they freak out, they quit, they go hide in their house, they're like done with this whole thing, they retire, whatever they do, they just fail. I don't think that's a good idea. We've had some clients do that. Other clients are terrified but act anyway. So they're afraid, they cautiously move forward. Maybe they cut down working with us a little bit, they cut their marketing budget a little bit. They're scared to move, but they're not totally paralyzed. They're having their fears and their doubts, and they're having a difficult time, but they're not totally frozen. Then there's that other group that are all excited about this. They're going, yay, this is exciting. And I've never seen them more enthused about their business than the last 3 weeks, because they're just seeing new things happening. It's like, wow, here comes a hurricane. Let's get ready. The hurricane's going to come. Admittedly, some people maybe hurt or die, and then it'll move on. So there's people that embrace this and they actually get excited about it. So have you noticed that with the clients, Ed or David?
Yes. Yes.
It's the old saying, Paul, when one door closes, all right, there's some other doors opening. And, we're beginning to find, and again, just our shared experience, these other doors that are opening for contractors and ways to connect with people and to communicate, to let them know you're still in business, you're moving forward, using novel ways to communicate, like virtual communication, using Loom to do virtual messaging, video messaging. There are these tools that, are simple differentiation. Step into these things. Yes, it's new, but it's dynamic, it's vital. It's separating you from other people they may have spoken to. It's separating you from the crowd.
And I think one upside of this is during the last recession, a lot of the contractors that maybe shouldn't be contractors, if you know what I mean, they're on the edge as far as their finances, as far as their understanding construction, as far as them following the rules. They were like, not quite real contractors. They went away because they don't know how to handle, adversity. And the other group that went away are the guys that are ready to retire. I mean, they've been through recessions, been there, done that. I've got enough net worth. I'm like out of here, which creates an opportunity for the person that's just below that. So it's, a little bit of survival of the fittest kind of thing happening. But I think it's all, except it's happening when we're fast. When it's all over, the strong will survive. They'll be stronger. The ones that didn't adapt so well, they'll go work for somebody else. And the people that are ready to retire will be gone.
Right. And it's, the catchword is pivot, right? That's what everyone talks about now, adapting and pivoting. And that's exactly what you have to do. We have one of our clients who just sent an email yesterday. I'm waiting for his consent, and we'll share it with you next week. He sent out the best email showing how he's incorporating all of this new technology with Matterport and Zoom. And I mean, it was beautiful. And it was so perfect because it explained exactly how they haven't missed a beat. Then literally 2 hours later, he sent out another one. Well, they just shut us down. The government just came in and shut us down. Construction, we can no longer do construction, but we're going to pivot on this as well and find out a new way around there. and he just didn't miss a beat. So it's really great if you have that perspective.
I believe prior to this, we were going for, I'll call it the digital transformation of construction, which has to do with, Matterport photos. You should check those out if you haven't seen those. Web-based, construction and web-based construction management,
project management,
project management, things that are being done by, Zoom meetings. So this was already in process, but it just hit the accelerator because now literally you can't leave your house in some places. So the digital transformation of construction, instead of taking, 5 years, may take 5 months.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Look at this. My helmet and my hard hat and my plans are sitting over there in gathering dust. I haven't left my house in 2 weeks, so I'm getting a little stir crazy. All right, Hey, Paul, I'm going to turn it back over to you and have you give a little preview of what we're going to talk about next week.
Okay. Well, one of the things that happens, we also have a recruiting company. We recruit for about 25 companies around the country that have between 200 and 200 employees. And I think there's a real big advantage. We've had the amount of applicants triple in the last 3 weeks because people are making life decisions. I'm ready to get out of the city. I'm done with this thing. I mean, I've made some decisions. I have a house in Hawaii. A couple of them I'm actually moving more to the Palm Springs area. I think I can do a small development. So people are making decisions that they wouldn't have made because of what's going on. So it's a great time for recruiting and a great time for outplacement because the people that don't have jobs or that you're laying off, there's a way to get them out. And there's a great opportunity to sort of clean house, get rid of the dead wood, bring in some new inspired people. We're going to go over this next week. We're not going to cover it today. But in anticipation of that, we have a tool that I'd like to share with all of you. It's an assessment tool. And so we're going to send everybody who's in this webinar our assessment tool. And what you can do, it'll take about, 45 minutes to take. Hey, when you take it, don't go to the bathroom, don't watch TV, be totally focused like you want this job because the results will be better. We're going to do it for everybody. It won't cost you anything. And this is what we use an assessment tool, whether we're doing outplacement or whether we're doing recruiting. So we're going to send that to everybody at the webinar. Take it, and then, we'll have the results back to you within 24 hours. And you got to better look at yourself as well as you understand the tool better. And then we'll go over it in next week's webinar of what all this means for you. Okay. All
right. Well, now we're going to open it up to our participants here. It looks like we've got about 20 attendees. And we want to hear from you. We've just described to you how you can pivot, how you can make new changes in your business. So we want to hear what's the one thing that you've done that's had the biggest impact on your business in response to the current situation. So if any of you want to share any ideas, believe me, that's the purpose of this here. You may think that it's something small, but it doesn't matter. Even the small ideas can be great. So if you're interested, please raise your hand. You can see there's a little place to raise your hand, and I will unmute your microphone, and we'd love to have you contribute to the program. So while we're waiting, I'll tell you, I'll just try to think of things. I'm going to again say with the client that put out that email, and the idea that they really could utilize that digital technology in a new way. All right, we've got Matt. Matt has his hand up. Let me unmute Matt here. All right, Matt, you're on.
Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Yep.
Great. So one of the things that my boss has gotten pretty creative with, and she's also on this call, is with the way that inspectors are doing it right now. They kind of recently determined that remodelers they weren't doing remodel inspections because they were owner occupied and they wanted to keep their distance, but they would do new construction inspections. And so she's just been really good about calling and kind of getting them to do them on a case-by-case basis and like with FaceTime and things like that, just to try to keep us moving forward. And I just think that's something that I probably wouldn't have even considered, but she's just been really trying to very nicely ask them to make exceptions for us and in safe ways.
And to say a little bit more, Matt, so is like, good morning, Nicole. So I wanted to see, are you walking around the house doing FaceTime? How exactly are you doing it?
That's right. Basically, I'm taking my phone and kind of holding it where the inspector's want it to be. So they're saying, zoom in on that outlet a little bit, or hold your phone down to that outlet a little bit. I want to see the way those wires come in, or something like that. And they just kind of say, start at the door and work your way around the perimeter and show me what the room looks like.
Yeah, Matt, where are you located?
We're in Durham. Well, the particular inspections I'm talking about are happening in Durham, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill.
So is the inspector outdoors? Are they on site and just is watching this, or are they in their office?
This one was in the driveway. So they were outside, yeah.
Very good.
Okay. And we've had, now what state are you in? Durham is in?
North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. North Carolina, okay. So we've had people in Florida have done this. So I would say in several states, since we work with about 50 clients on a regular basis, it has been used. Hope you're, a lot of people literally, in fact, in some places in Boston, I believe, the inspector was at the office on FaceTime, and my client walked around with a cell phone on FaceTime, and they did the inspections while the guy was in the office. So it has happened in several different states. So we're, again, the digital transformation of construction. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey, also speaking of FaceTime, I learned something last night. I didn't realize that you could do more than one person on a FaceTime call. So basically, if you have an Apple iPhone, you can do the equivalent of a Zoom call with FaceTime. And it's a little tricky to do, but the easiest way you do it is if you have a group text with say two or three people, if you just go in on that group text and you at the top where it has the little info button, you tap on that info, it'll say FaceTime, and it'll literally call everyone on that group text. And then as each person answers, their little bubble pops up on the screen, and pretty soon you're looking at the 2 or 3 people that are in this. So it's a really cool, a typical Apple great, and whoever's talking, actually their bubble gets bigger. So it's actually in some ways kind of a cooler way to do a group
and
call.
Hopefully you have the senior vision of the iPhone, right? So you can see what's going on.
Right. So, all right, Matt, thank you for that. That was a great idea. Let's see. Anyone else got any other suggestions? Any other ideas that they've done that's had a positive impact here? Ned's commenting that hopefully cities across America will allow virtual inspections. The client that I mentioned, he's actually here in California, and he's using Matterport. He's actually recording a Matterport, which is a great virtual 3D, and he's then recording a Matterport and sending that off to his building inspector. So
I have a question, Ed. Can you show? And actually it says David Luperger under you, and I know that's not your real name. Can you show a Matterport photo on your screen, or is that not something we can do in real time?
Let's try that.
Interesting question.
Since you only have like 20 people here, we're going to piss off. So if we do it wrong. So
no, let's do it. All right. Here we go.
Let's show an example of an actual Matterport photo, because I think this is a great technology. I'm selling my house in Hawaii, and I insisted that the real estate agent uses this. So here we go.
All right. So can everyone see this? All right. This is the front of the house, right? So you can walk in here. We're going to go in through this front door, right? So we just walk in. You keep clicking here. You literally can walk in if we wanted to. We could go up the stairs if we wanted to. If the inspector's looking up at the ceiling, he can look up at the ceiling. He can look down.
Let's go up the stairs. Why you got a little time? Go up the stairs. I haven't seen what's upstairs in the top.
All right, let's go upstairs. So you basically just control the mouse and you just spin it around here. I got a tile floor. Let's see. Let's go in here. Maybe this is the master. Nice doors. Yeah.
Nice view.
Bad view. So let's go out and let's see if we can see the view. Yep, look at that. You can actually see the view. There's a nice cabana and a pool. So, all right, let's walk back in here. Looks like we've got the AC
you see the air
up there.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, and here's the bathroom. You can go in and walk around the bathroom. So you get the idea here. I mean, it literally is like you feel like you are inside this house. And so you can either use this for your inspections, or imagine if you have a house that's done. I know real estate brokers now that are doing virtual tours with these Matterports and literally selling multi-million-dollar homes in Rancho Santa Fe.
Yeah,
and
we had a couple of clients.
Technology.
My realtor in Hawaii has actually sold a couple houses with the client never going to the house ever, because in Hawaii you can't literally go, and unless it literally killed all the tourists. Not killed the word.
Well, what a dynamic portfolio view. That if you've got 2 or 3 jobs you'd like to highlight what you've done in the past, putting this on your website.
Right. Now this is cool. Watch when I'm going to walk out this big lift and slide window here. And when you walk out to the pool, watch what happens when you step into the pool. Let me see if I can get.
Can't go into the water. That won't let you do that.
There you go.
But
so when you step into the pool, it turns it to the nighttime view. So now here's your view from the nighttime. Isn't that cool? And then once you step out of the pool, then it turns back daytime again. Oh, I actually walked into a bedroom there.
Right. There's a couple ways to do this. One is you can buy the camera, which is about $3,000, and then subscribe to the web service, and you do your own, which if you're any size contractor, all I recommend, because you can do your own thing in your own time. If not, I think it's around $500. They'll come out and do it for you. There's always some local guy that will do it for you. So again, this is a classic thing of, the digital transformation of construction, where you don't have to actually go there. You can do the tour without ever physically going to the house.
Now this is a resort. I'm getting the idea here. This is Via Deluxe 29 in Mauritius, right? So this is a resort. And when you click on the big widescreen TV, look what it does. It has an embedded YouTube video about the Via Concierge program here at this place in Mauritius. So you literally come in here, you go to your TV, and then you click on this little dot, and up comes the video that you can then watch that tells you about where you are. So very cool. My son is a senior in high school, and we literally are having to tour college campuses virtually. And one of the college campuses that he's looking at is Case Western Reserve in Cleveland, Ohio. If anyone of you can talk my son out of why would he want to go to Cleveland, Ohio?
I have no idea why he would. Why he would leave San Diego and go to Cleveland? I don't get it.
But it
builds character, Ed.
Right. They've done this same thing, and literally you can walk through the campus and you click on people and they talk to you. You click on screens and they show embedded videos. It is the best virtual tour I've ever seen. So, and I realize now that much of this has been done with Matterport as well. So, all right, well, let's go back to our slide presentation here, and let's see. Does anyone else have any other great positive suggestions that they want to talk about? All right,
let's move
on. Yeah. Let's move on to the other side, which is what's the biggest mistake that you've made in response to the current situation? All right, let's see if we get any responses from this. In the meantime, Paul or David, any big mistakes you want to mention that any of our clients have done? We won't name them, but any big mistakes you think?
I would say one mistake that a client who will know and go unnamed is they stopped recruiting. They went, oh my God, how am I going to hire this person? And I personally believe you should build a bench. So you have a line. And we've had incredible recruits and incredible prices that haven't happened before. So stopping recruiting is a bad idea, because if you're ever going to do it, you need to do it now. Because you don't have to hire the people, but you can certainly get them on the bench and interview them, slow to hire and fast to fire. So it's a great time to recruit. Also, we've had a couple of clients that have, for lack of a better term, shut down their marketing because they can't afford it. Bad idea. Because now is when you can do some stuff that you can't normally do. I mean, as an example, this webinar, we have several here. We had 250 sign up. That would never have happened a month ago. So there's some marketing opportunities that literally don't exist. People are at home. You can get them on the phone. You can call architects. So the worst thing you can do is, one, panic. We've always Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe, right? Don't panic on the front of that thing.
Right.
So don't panic. And look at the opportunities. That's why I thought the cheese book was great, because there's a lot of cool things happening and a lot of things you can do. So, don't panic and take positive action. and communicate that confidence, because you know the stronger are going to survive. If you're one of the strong guys or ladies out there, you're going to survive. If you like hide out, maybe not so much.
Yeah, can I add one more thing to that, Paul?
Sure.
You know, speaking with contractors who suspend their operations, and it's everything you're saying, which is let your clients know we're still in business. Use some of these digital tools. Connect with people. They want to hear from you. And at the same time, reassure your employees, letting them know we're moving forward, we're doing the following, and creating, even if it's 1 week at a time, and 1 week action plan. What can you do this week? But movement. Keep moving. There's the agility that Ed talked about. You just have to pivot, but keep moving because doors will open.
So Ned's got a couple of comments here. He's saying that they're redoing their company website during this downtime, which is a great thing to do. Right now, if you've got extra time, obviously you're stuck at home. Some of you may be like what Paul and I were saying this morning. We're working more hours now than we ever have. I mean, this is not like sitting at home eating bonbons, and probably some of you are that way. But at some point, you may get to the point where you do have some downtime, and that's the time that you want to stay focused and start to work on your business when you can't work in your business. So Ned commented that they're actually going to be redoing their website, which I think is great. And one question he has, and Paul, you can answer this. Ned asked, what type of marketing do you recommend? Let me give an example of the guy we just talked to this morning in New York.
He's in upstate New York, and there was a general tendency from this pandemic for people to get out of Dodge or New York or LA or wherever, right? So if you are in a rural market, I believe it's a great time, and we point out ways you can do it on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever. You can target specifically people. We talked about having an example of a guy he knows who left New York. He was an executive in New York. He found out that he could do everything by phone. He actually didn't need to do it in person. And so he moved to upstate New York, and now he's more time with his family. He loves his home. Instead of having a 2-bedroom apartment for, $8 for whatever it was, $3,000, $4,000 a month, he has like a 4 or 5 bedroom house. His lifestyle is dramatically improved. I can speak to that personally. I used to believe I had to do all this in person, and I'm really slower. I spent 20 years driving around in a car, last 10 with my older son, visiting clients in person, because I believed I could not consult over the phone. Slow learner. So about 4 years ago, I converted to doing everything by phone, and actually my revenue went up. Contractors are great to do by phone because they, if I went halfway across San Francisco and the guy wasn't there, I was pissed because I just spent an hour in traffic trying to get to his office. Now, if I have a client here and I miss him, hey, I go running, I exercise, I go to the gym, whatever I need to do. It's way better, and contractors don't feel so guilty for canceling appointments. So one thing is, think about what you can do by phone. We have a client right now who's in Portland, and she is calling all the past clients and offering them a free design consult. And she's talking to them by phone, setting up appointments on phone. We got somebody else in Boston doing the same thing. So your clients are accessible by phone. A lot of stuff you thought you had to do in person, you can really do on the phone. And people are being more and more open to that. People are using the technology. When you talk about, Zoom, people don't have a clue, what is Zoom? I don't know. So that's changing. So I would say anything you can do using technology to increase communication is a good kind of marketing. Now, Ed, there has been some concerns about Zoom. You want to address those? Because when you hear
So there have been some security issues with Zoom. I just read the latest release. Obviously, the people using Zoom has skyrocketed, and there is a way that people can hack into your Zoom conversations. And so I noticed that the companies that have discontinued using Zoom are SpaceX and NASA. All right. So if you're
right.
talking about,
if you're a spy, it's a bad idea,
issues,
right?
Right. Exactly. So, but there are ways to make your Zoom conversation more secure. The problem is that if you have a Zoom account, you have a user ID, and anyone can access that at any time. So if you have a ongoing meeting, people just dial in that 9-digit number and they can get in. Well, if someone gets a hold of that 9-digit number, they can hack into your system at any time. So how you can avoid that is 2 ways. One is that you require it to be a private conversation, in which case not only does your people that are joining your meeting have to enter your 9-digit ID, but there's a password that goes with it. Or what I do is, with my clients, if we want to get onto a Zoom call, I just start a new Zoom call. And then if you invite people after you've initiated your Zoom call, then they get a specific and dedicated link, and that's a secure link. So those are one of the 2 ways that you can make it more secure. But people have been hacking in. They'll hear random comments. They make obscene comments. They'll post lewd pictures on your messages. But the only way they can do that is if you don't create a private meeting, or you don't initiate a meeting after you've already started your Zoom call.
And obviously what we're using, GoToMeeting, is an alternative to that. It is about $40 a month, but that's not much. And so you can choose GoToMeeting. There's a couple others. What about, there's Google Hangouts, right? There's a couple alternatives.
Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm. So Ned's got another question. He says, is there a CRM system that you recommend to use? So, you know, there's the big ones out there, right? There's Salesforce. There's what else, Paul? There's a few.
There's Salesforce, Infusionsoft, HubSpot. There's a bunch of them out there. Some are there's free CRM. One of my best friends for a long time was like a CRM guru.
Aren't these all included in some of the integrated software programs though now, like Co-Construct and Buildertrend?
No. Well, they are, but they suck. That's probably bad language, but you know, it's sort of like you can use, you know, Co-Construct or Buildertrend CRM, but it's sort of like using, you know, a screwdriver to drive a nail. I mean, it'll work. You don't need a hammer, but a hammer is much better. So most of the CRM programs I've seen with web-based software are very poor compared to HubSpot or, you know, Infusionsoft or free CRM. There's a bunch of them out there because those programs are specifically designed for CRM. They track stuff better. Now, the go-to is Salesforce. That's the biggest one, and it's a little complicated. You can use MailChimp nowadays. That'll do a lot of that kind of stuff where it didn't used to before. But I would say, what's the one the home builders use, Ed, that we've got, where's the large home builders use?
Lasso is it, right? And that's one that's specifically designed. Lasso is a CRM specifically designed for residential builders. It's more for kind of like production builders than like remodelers or custom home builders. But you might want to check out Lasso as well. Ned mentions here there was several of them at the Builder Show that were advertising as well. Specific real estate design CRM. I haven't used any of them personally, so I can't give any personal.
I've used a couple. I currently use Infusionsoft, and some people call it Confusionsoft.
It's for bigger companies, isn't it?
Well, it works. It'll go down to, you know, if you only have, you know, small numbers. I think we have a list. It'll do up to, you know, hundreds of thousands. The thing with the CRM is, can you mail people automatically? Can you filter them? Can you work with the information and do something with it? Whereas almost all the CRMs that come with the web-based software, it's just a list. That's it. You can't mail it. You can't do selections. There's a thing called a relational database. See, I'm sure you thought I was, Ed. Yeah. And when we have a flat database like Excel, you're stuck. It just does boom, boom, boom. Select all, don't select all. You can't do it with a relationship database and say, okay, give me all of my clients that spent more than, you know, $100,000 with me in the last 3 years that live in zip code 4689 that are female. And I can specifically sort by all those things because it's a relational database, which pretty much all CRM programs are. So that's the advantage. Aren't you amazed, Ed?
Yeah. All right. So I think that pretty much answers all of the questions we've got. Anyone else have any other mistakes they want to share here? We got a couple minutes left. All right. Okay. Well,
okay.
It looks like
well, I want to finish this by
any mistakes.
I'm glad nobody's making mistakes. That's exciting. At least ones are willing to share. Now, the other thing is, if you want to call us and share your mistakes one-on-one, we are available for questions after this. We won't charge you. It's free of charge to all the people who went to this webinar. We're happy to spend time with you to go over what you're doing, how you're doing, what you might do differently, what we have as best practices. No cost to you. Just give us a call. After this webinar, I'll be happy to do that with you, because I think some people may not want to share their mistakes in public. And the other thing is, don't forget, you will be emailed the link to the assessment. Do it. It's an amazing experience. You'll know more about yourself. You know, we can know more about you than your mother does in about 45 minutes, because the level of assessment sophistication has gone up a huge amount. This is an AI kind of thing. It measures how long you take to look at a question, if you're consistent, did you hesitate? It's a very sophisticated instrument. So if you haven't used one of these before, it's a great opportunity to see how much you can know about somebody in 45 minutes with just an instrument like this. So don't forget to do it. And then we'll discuss it next week on what that all means to you.
So I'm going to just go back to this slide, which we talked about last week. But again, I think it's just so important to continue to reiterate this, and this is what I keep telling everyone: be informed, stay connected, and keep positive. So again, stay informed. The situations are changing every day in regards to the coronavirus, as well as our construction situations. But again, don't watch the news. Don't binge watch on that news. You get so anxious, and believe me, they're trying to do that because that helps them to sell, get more eyeballs on the screen.
The purpose of news is to sell stuff. Never forget that.
Right.
The purpose of news is to sell advertising.
Yeah. Second, stay connected. You know, connect with your peers. If you're in a Builder 20 group or a Remodeler's Advantage group, stay connected with them. Come on to these group coaching calls. This is a great way to stay connected with your peers. Next is be optimistic about the long term, but focus on those short-term solutions. Focus on ways that you can pivot. David talked at the webinar last week about just taking it week by week, which is also a great approach. And also be selective as to who you share your concerns with, right? Don't be telling your employees that you're scared about being able to make payroll next week, or that you don't know if your business is going to make it through. If your wife isn't involved in the business, you may not want to share some of your concerns with them. While the three of us are here, we are great people to share it with. If you have people in your peer groups, they would be people as well. And then lastly, just realize that this too shall pass, right? We will all get through this together. All right, so that's pretty much it. Just a couple of reminders here. We have a free weekly webinar that we do every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. We will have more information, I'm sure, on the loan program by this Friday as things continue to change. And so we will update that at our webinar on Friday. And then also we have our group coaching call again this same time next week.
On Friday.
One more time,
Right. If you need some help, you know, like filling out your forms, or what should I do? Is you know, what marketing should I do? You know, I would say, if you're not familiar with us, I'm the marketing guy. David is the systems, and he knows more about systems than I ever want to know. And Ed is Mr. Technical Guru. He knows how to do everything with every computer known to man. So anyhow, we're here to serve you any way we can.
All right. So that's
Thanks,
it.
everybody.
Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday, if not on our webinar on Friday. Thanks.
Thank you very much.